Hey, folks.
Hey,
Welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast. Podcast about
how we game?
on our live stream call-in show. So thank you for joining us in today's topic, which is going to be Tapestry. It's going to be our main topic.
Yep.
So Robert and I are going to give our thoughts on Tapestry.
That's Carlos. I'm Rob.
Yep. That. If you can't tell, I am the Carlos. And he's
yeah.
the Rob.
The beans and the dice.
We're going to talk a little bit about Tapestry today. We're going to give our thoughts on our plays of Tapestry.
Yeah.
We're going to dig into and unbox the Tapestry Plans and Ploys box while we chat.
Expansion, yeah.
The expansion box, yips. And then we will take your calls and talk to you about your thoughts on Tapestry, we hope. So.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we always encourage, this is a call-in show, encourage people to call in and talk about whatever you like. You can hit on the topic that we're talking about tonight, or if you've got something else that's going on, new purchases, new news in the industry that you've heard about that you want to call and talk to us about or educate us on, we appreciate the calls, and anything you want to bring up, we'll talk about it.
Yep, and before we open up the phone lines, what we'll do is just give our quick thoughts on the game of Tapestry.
Okay.
Not too... we're just not going to go too in depth.
Sure.
There's so many other people that do it so much better than we do when they go into the in-depth reviews.
Yeah.
We're really just talking our opinions, our thoughts. Carlos and Rob, what do we think of Tapestry? That's what we're going to do here.
You want to start or?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
You got that cat over there.
Oh, yeah. I can hear
It's
the
loud.
meows. Meow.
He's waiting for the kids to come out to play.
Oh.
So let's get started.
I'll get some BGG information pulled up. So it's here. It shows it's 7.5 on the ratings. It says overall ranking is 233 on the BGG rankings. Out of strategy games, it's 171.
171.
Yeah, so that's pretty high. And we'll get into that. But in our opinions, it's pretty high. I know there are some people who really, really like this game. I know when it first came out, there were a lot of people who were not so satisfied with the game. And again, we'll talk about
I was one of them.
Yeah, and me too. I know on our first play,
And it was right after the game came out. So
Right.
the game had just come out. I think the email saying it was shipping to the champions
yeah.
came out like a day or two before.
I think it was a friend in our group had acquired it and brought it up to the game
Raph.
shop. Right, yeah,
It was Raph.
Raphael had got it, and he's on there on the Stonemeyer Games. Would you say preferred or they
Champions.
the champions group. So it's a special group of people who who were signed up early. I don't know if it's still open to just anybody who.
No,
wants
they're
to
still
sign
doing
up.
it. And
Okay.
People who they pay extra to be on a group
Okay.
of champions. They get access to the games early. They get them shipped early, and it came early for him.
Cool.
He showed up
Yep.
with it. We played it that first night, and I remember being so excited going up there.
Because we thought it was a Civ builder. It's a Civ game.
I love 4X games. You know,
yeah.
I'm all
Me
about
too.
the 4X life.
Yeah.
I got a lot of 4X games up
You
there.
do. Yep.
And, even the original the Civilization Sid Meier's
Sid
by
Meier's, yeah.
by FFG. We had that one. We played that.
Yep.
We played a lot of TI4. We've got Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea.
Yep.
Right, all these different 4X games that we were so excited. So I was super hyped about, I'm going to play a new 4X game, and this one's going to be a fast 4X game, and it's going to make that better because it's faster.
Yeah.
But then we played it, and I left feeling like I don't think I played a 4X game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just felt like we didn't do something right almost, even though we we were pretty thorough in going through the rules and making sure that we were.
There wasn't a lot of rules. It's 4 pages.
Yeah, it's very very brief. It just I think initially it certainly wasn't what we were expecting. Again, like you say, it had just come out. It was advertised as a Civ game, and you hear it. It says the title Tapestry, a civilization game, and so we just had expectations based on what we knew Civ games to be in the past. And so, when we played it, again, we'll get into that a little bit here without going into too much depth, but it's not certainly a typical civilization type game.
No, so here comes Tapestry, and Robert and I are getting to enjoy this game, and we're playing it, we're figuring out the rules, and we're not doing bad at it.
Right.
But the taste that it left me with was not a civilization game.
Right.
So we kind of we shied away from it for a while.
Yeah, so it was quite a while, I think, between the first time we played and we talked about it afterwards. I think we played it. It's 1 to 5 players. It's advertised as 90 to 120 minutes. I'd say that first play was all of 120 minutes plus. Again, that was a learning game, and none of us knew it. It was brand new, as you said. We were just hearing about it, that they were going to start getting it out into the wild, and all of a sudden it showed up. Raph showed up at the shop with it and was like, "Hey!" So we had to jump on that. The newest hotness. It was Stonemeyer. It was Jamie Stegmeyer. So we had some history with him. We've played several of his games in the past.
And love him.
Yeah, been big fans of several of them.
Nice. I mean, we're huge fans of Scythe.
Yeah.
I know Rob's played a lot of viticulture as well.
Yep. Big fan of viticulture. Mm-hmm. We played Euphoria recently, so that was well after we had played all these other games. But yeah, we talked about it afterwards. So after we had played it, as we were kind of packing it up, we were digesting our initial feelings, and I think with 5 of us kind of talked about, well, 4 of us at that point, because actually one of the unique things, and we'll talk about it in a minute, was one of our players got done about 45 minutes before the rest of us.
That's one of the things I like about the game, though.
And he left, so that was Barry. Barry he was in a hurry.
And he was in the lead when he left.
Right.
Barry was well in the lead when he left, and he said, "Hey, text me once they finish scoring and let me know how much I won by."
He had to run because I think his wife called or something. He had to run home, but so he had kind of rushed the end of his game. And that's one of the things about the game is you can accelerate it, and everybody plays and potentially ends at a different time. But Barry got done, and like you say, he told us, "All right, well, let me know how it turns out." But he had a pretty big advantage at that point. He was I forget how many points ahead, 80 points or something. So he was pretty comfortable that he was going to win. And then when we called him after the game ended and told him that he lost,
and it was Evan that won.
Yeah,
Evan built a little engine on those last few turns.
Yep.
And he just churned that little engine into a points machine, and then caught up and just surpassed Barry, but not by a lot.
No, it's not a lot, but it was
just enough to get the win that Barry did not believe us.
Right. He thought we had set it up or that we were screwing with him.
Lied to him.
Lied to him. So that's one of the unique things. You mentioned that you like that different people can end. Unfortunately for me, I'd say it was the opposite for me. And it didn't hit me so much that first play as it did, I guess we talked about, it was months before we played it again, maybe 4, 5, 6 months. It was quite a while before we,
like a year,
or maybe a year before we had a chance to, or I would say a chance, but before we decided we wanted to give it another shot, because we kept hearing the buzz as it was coming out.
Well, there were other people that never played it and they were excited to. Patrick was one of them.
Yeah.
He was asking us to play it.
Right.
We're like, okay, we'll get it to the table.
So we waited a while, and we, eventually we were like, well, we probably need to try that again, because there are these people who really like this game, and who so maybe we missed something. Maybe we jumped on it too early. We didn't know what we were doing, so we played it again.
And by that time, there were already some updates to the civilizations, some balancing of the civilization. So we felt like, okay, so they've had some time to FAQ and to work that out, errata that.
Yeah, they admitted that there were some balancing issues with some of the civilizations, because there's a whole slew of civilizations you choose from. I think the base game has you hand out 2 to everybody, and then you get to look at them 2 or 3, and then you get to look at them.
The edition I have actually comes with the updated civilizations. Right, so it tells you how to treat those civilizations,
how to handicap. Yeah, the newer editions actually.
Which one's the buff, which one's the handicap, and how to do that.
Right.
So we're excited. We get it set up to the table, and we're going again. And how'd that game go?
That one went about the same as the first one. And again, it was interesting. As you mentioned, Patrick really, really wanted to play. And he was like, oh, this game, it had been out for a while. I mean, it had been out, a year and a half.
Yeah.
And so Patrick was like, oh, I got to play this game. I'd never played it. It's one of those games that everybody talks about. I've got to play it. So it got us a little excited again about it. We were like, oh, okay, he's enthusiastic. Let's give this another shot. We're going to do it right this time. And we played it, and it kind of fell flat again. And I know we probably didn't help any, because we told Patrick, or at least I did. I was fairly vocal before we started. I said, well, just to warn you, this game, both Carlos and I didn't love it when we played it, but we want to play it again. And we did. We honestly wanted to try it again. We wanted to give it another shot. And then about halfway through the game, I think one of us made a comment like, yeah, I remember, now I'm starting to remember the things I didn't like about this game. And then Patrick, who had been so enthusiastic, first couple of rounds, he was really into it. And then he said, yeah, this is not the experience that I thought it was going to be. And so, although I will say, none of us have played the expansion yet, and Patrick is very excited to come back, and he wants to give it a second try, and so we will.
I just got it, so got the expansion now.
Yeah, and so we're going to give that a shot. We're going to play that again, specifically for Patrick's sake, I think, just to because he again is fairly excited about it. So
but my first play of it was very low.
Yeah,
in how I left the subsequent plays. I took a whole different approach to it.
Yeah.
I had to tell myself this is not a Civ game. This is a game with some Civ splattered on.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not a Civ game. I'm more excited about the solo version of this game. Right. I'm feeling like, to me, this game is. It gave me more of the feels that I get from playing like a good roll and write.
Okay.
Like a Ganshan Clever or Welcome to, right, where you're comboing up certain scoring boxes, like you're ticking these scoring boxes that kind of combo up.
Okay.
And it feels good when you hit a good combo, and then or when you get a good engine going that can hit a good series of scores.
Right. There's definitely some engine building in this. Yeah. And I don't know much about the solo experience at all. I believe it's the autonomous Automa system. I think all the Stonemaier games have that Automa system, and I know it's gotten raves, that system, in Scythe. People love
played it in Scythe, and I loved it.
Have you tried Tapestry solo?
No, I haven't had an opportunity to play solo yet.
Okay.
I'm pulling out these rules. I was waiting for the Tapestry box to come in because it's got more Automa scenarios and an Automa rulebook in here specific.
Okay. Cool.
So the plans and ploys, I'm hoping, is what takes it to that better level. But when it comes to the game itself, it really gave me the feels of like a roll and write. And when I looked at it that way, where it's more of a comboing game, a game where there's a lot of luck involved, right?
Sure.
But you have to figure out how to do the best with what you have, like you do with a roll and write, right? At the end of the day, a roll and write like super skill pinball 4K or any of the Ganshan Clevers.
Yeah.
There's definitely luck.
Right.
But it's how you use it.
So there's a die on one of the tracks. I believe it's one of the tracks in this game. So there's
the science dice.
Right. So there's a little.
There's a military die.
Okay.
Right. So when you conquer, when you take new areas, you roll dice, and it's going to give you different bonuses for taking areas.
When you explore, there's random tiles.
The backside of the tiles,
mixed up tiles that you draw from. So there's some luck there. There's a little bit of luck on the technology cards that come out, the order they come out, how they come out. So
the factions that you're dealt.
Yeah.
Right. So many factions now. I mean, I think we're adding another 10 civilization mats.
Yep.
On top of, I think I can't remember the exact number on the Tapestry system, but it was 12 or so.
16, like 16 on there, yeah. And that's one of the strengths of the game. Definitely is the asymmetry. They did some neat things with some of the factions, some of the civilizations that you play as. They did some interesting. Some things I hadn't seen before, as far as the way that they advance and the way that they get points, and then some of the handicaps that some of them have, or some of the advantages that some of them have. So, again, the nature of that made it where they ended up having to come back and tweak some of that later. I don't know if it just wasn't enough play testing, or if it's just, obviously you can only play test so much with so many people. And when it gets out into the wild, I think it became...
But I'm not going to knock them for that. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to games with asymmetrical powers, you're going to get it wrong.
Right.
That's the nature of it. But that's it. You have to accept that. Right. When you get into an asymmetric game. Because if to get it perfect will make it boring.
Well, it's good that they, certainly the Jamie Stegmaier and the Stonemaier Games group took that to heart. I mean, some would ignore it, some would ignore the criticism, some would just say, "Hey, that's the game. That's the way it is. Figure it out. Don't play those races. Don't play those civilizations if you don't like them." But the fact that they actually went back and eventually first did an online errata and did the handicapping.
But captured data.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Off of gameplays out in the wild. And
we uploaded data. I remember playing our game. We uploaded that data of who played what factions, what points did they get, what cards did they play as tapestries, and that very much happened with Scythe as well. Early on in Scythe, we were recording all of that data to make sure that we provided Jamie and his crew as much information on that game.
Yep.
And how to tweak it if necessary, which they also had to do with Scythe. So no knock on having to tweak. I find that to be courageous.
Oh, absolutely.
I find it takes That's
what I was. Yeah, that's where I was headed with that.
It takes a little courage to get out there, try a game, knowing that you might get it wrong, but the goal is to be asymmetrical.
Yep.
To give people different powers.
It's a tough thing to do.
Some of the other things that I really liked about this game has to do with what Jamie does well. The Stonemaier games does well. I should say Stonemaier.
Yep.
Stonemaier Games does well. Is quick, fast turns.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Everybody's taking like one little action, one little turn at a time.
Yep.
So nothing crazy.
The downtime's not horrendous, so it comes around to you pretty quick. It discourages AP, I think, because there's some pressure that the turns go so quick when it comes to your turn that you need to act fast. It doesn't completely eliminate it. I'm sure there's some people who we've played with who still can drag the game down a little bit. But
but they drag all kinds of games down.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not just this game. So, but yeah, that's something that Stonemeyer's always done well. Is quick, short turns.
The components, the artwork, the quality of the production is just, it makes. When we were laying it out, Robert, I know like about halfway through the game, we're like, oh, I'm starting to remember some things I didn't like about this game.
Yeah.
But I also remember feeling, setting it up. Oh, I'm starting to remember all the things I did like about this game.
Those buildings, the art, the bright colors. I mean, those were all big pluses of the game. And, you know, the buildings are a plus and a minus. And again, it's been kind of beat to death. I picked up on it. I'd heard about it before we played, and then I picked up on it pretty quickly as we were playing it. But that whole grid system and taking the buildings and placing them on the grid felt like an unnecessary part of the game. But those buildings are awesome looking. The table presence, when you're laying those out on the board and putting them next to the board, and then you're taking them and putting them on your board. That's one thing that people walking by are like, "Ooh, those are some pretty buildings," and it really draws people over to it. So.
I did find in the games where I didn't put any attention to that mat because I didn't want to use that brain energy for it, I found that I did not do well. Right. So there is something to that board and using it well. You can't ignore it. You got to figure out how to use it. And I think but it's not an easy board to use.
I spent too much time thinking about it. That's why that ends up being half of my game, is trying to figure out what am I doing on this board down here, and how important is what I'm doing, and trying to fill in those spots, the grids, the vertical and the horizontals, and then filling up each of those cubes, because they all give you different advantages if you complete a horizontal or vertical, or if you complete a 9-square grid.
It's like Sudoku.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a big game of Sudoku with like miniature buildings. But some of the other things I enjoyed is the fact that there is player interaction. Yeah. Right. As we start wrapping up our conversations on it, so we can open up the lines and get your thoughts. Some of the things I did like about it is the player interaction. Right. Being able to attack somebody and actually getting something for it. Yeah. You know, I like games with conflict. Now I like how it does limit it. So you can't really push too hard on any one person because you can only attack twice.
And you can turtle. I mean, it allows me.
I was a race that turtled the isolation list. Yeah, that was a fun race.
Yep, and it allows me even no matter what race you draw. Well, I can't say no matter what. There are a few that are definitely based on combat, but for most of the civilizations, you know, and again, that's where if you get a couple and you get to choose which one, you can choose one. If my play style is normally to have people leave me alone, let me sit in the corner, let me figure out my engine and get my stuff going. It allows me to do that. I mean, people can still come at you. You do exploration, but the game gives you a starting location where you can either explore towards your opponents or you can explore areas away from your opponents. So you can kind of run away and hide a little bit. If somebody wants to come get you, they'll come get you.
But if you want those points, because they give you points for knocking people down, you get bonuses. Yep. I like the race aspect of it. I like the feeling of the race, right? Because you got these tracks. There's 4 tracks on the board that you're trying to advance your civilization through.
Technology.
And then you get these bonuses at certain stages of there, but you got to be the first one to get there.
Right. You got to be the first one to the end.
So that, to me, I find that race mechanism to be another form of player interaction.
Sure. Yeah.
Because watching you push the track that I'm working on. Yeah. Right, to get the thing that I was really hoping to get.
Get under your skin a little bit, yeah.
It does. It digs under my skin.
And as you move on those tracks, that's how you acquire those buildings that you could then put on your little player grid. So you have to be the first to different sections on the track, and the first one there gets to grab that building and put it on, and then nobody else can get it after that. So there's little mini races on each track as well. So big advantage to get to the end of the whole thing, but even just along the way.
Along the way, you're also picking up resources, right? So and I talked about having different turn lengths, right? So every game, players are going to take actions. You're only going to take actions until you run out of resources to help move up the track. Right. And there are certain things that you can get on the tracks that let you remove buildings off of your player mat that give you more income, more resources. Right. So you really are fighting for those spots to try to develop the income track on your player mat so that you can build your engine. So watching you take the hut that I wanted, right, the space that allows you to remove a hut and move it onto your board, thus clearing a space for a resource, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's there's a fair amount of interaction in it in different ways. So on the main game board,
as direct interaction, interaction, with conflict,
and then the competing for different cards, competing for different.
I still can remember watching going on a track and starting on that track, and then like as soon as it's Rob's turn, like we're at turn 1, folks. As soon as what does Rob do? He moves his guy on my track.
Yeah,
and I'm like, really?
Can't let you get ahead.
We're on turn 1. There's 4 tracks.
It's already started.
And you already 3 others. Right. It's like there's an interaction to it. Overall, I'll sum up my thoughts and allow you to sum up yours. In summary, my thoughts on Tapestry is when I played it as a 4X civilization building game, I did not enjoy it.
Okay.
When I played it as almost like a really complex roll and write,
okay,
I had fun.
Sure.
It is a game that has a lot going on. I feel that there are things that could have been left out, like the building mat, adding the city mat.
Yeah.
And maybe I ignore it, but then I also find that I lose when I ignore it.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, there's a good game here. It hasn't gelled in my mind and I guess it's because I haven't figured out how to succeed at it.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, and maybe that's just me being kind of a little angry at it. Like, oh, you're too complex for my simple mind.
Yeah. Yeah, we played some pretty complex games, but I would agree that it almost tries to do too much. It feels like maybe too many mechanisms, too many things. So the advantage to that is just about anybody who plays it can find some part of it that they're going to like. But to do well at it, I think kind of is maybe where you were going towards. The more I play it, I find the more I'm enjoying it. I don't know if it's because my expectations have been reset and now I know what I'm getting into, and my expectations were maybe too different and too high the first time or two that I played it. So now that I know what to expect and I know what I'm getting into, it's more palatable. Part of that may be also because of the complexity. It is, I would call a medium. Yeah, I don't think I'd say heavy, but a medium weight game because there are a lot of different things going on. But I think, as you said, you kind of have to do a little bit of a lot of different things. And so it's not a game where you can kind of pick one niche and just sit over here and try to maximize this one thing and win that way. You've got to touch on a lot of different things. And it makes my mind a little mushy after we're done. I feel like I've been beat up a little bit.
And it's weird saying it's kind of a medium weight game, right, when the game itself has 4 pages of rules.
Yeah, the mechanics are simple, but it's just a lot going on. So yeah.
So that's our thoughts. I think I would say try it before you buy it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not a cheap game.
Yeah.
So definitely try it before you buy it. There are people who, as you can see by the rankings,
there are people who love it.
I think it's like a giant, exciting, big roll and write game in the sense of you kind of have luck happen and you got to manage that luck and use it to your best with what you have. But then it allows for more replays as you learn the game. I just still haven't grokked it yet. So try it before you buy it. That's what I say.
Definitely. I agree.
So, I think at this point we'll take your calls and get your thoughts on Tapestry or whatever else you got going on. So I'm going to turn on the phone lines, and phone lines are up. Phone line is on the board, and I'm going to get these phones on.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk to you guys about what you think.
Yeah, if anybody's got any thoughts on Tapestry, or again, if not, we'll take any topic. If you just want to call and tell us what you've been playing, anything that's new that's come in, any Kickstarters that you're looking forward to, if you've got some things on order, or just, like I say, news. There's a fair amount of news rolling out lately. It had been slow for a little while.
Rob, I think we talked too long. We got a message here, a voicemail.
Uh-oh.
Jamie Stegmeyer called.
Oh, really? We missed Jamie's call?
Oh, no. I'm turning on the phone line, buddy. We'll still be here. That would be amazing. Let me get this thing on.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. But again, anything y'all want to talk about? If you've, I was gonna say, I was in the middle of saying there that the news had been a little slow over the winter. There's typically a slowdown, and especially with the pandemic that's been going on, people not being able to get together. There's been some delays on some games and things. So if you want to talk about those kinds of things, either delays, things you've been disappointed that you haven't been able to get either through Kickstarter or for a game that you've been waiting on for a while from a publisher, manufacturer that just hasn't come out in a while, or like I say, anything you've been playing recently, anything you want to talk to us about, educate us on. There's a lot of games out there right now that we don't know anything about, but we'd love to pull them up, take a look at them, and talk to you about your experiences with them. So.
All right. Well, I just replied back. The lines are open.
Cool.
I opened up our phone lines for you folks. Give us your thoughts on Tapestry. Let us know what you think. Or just throw out our topic and give us whatever you want to talk about. Yeah. That's what we're open for.
If we get a chance, if we need to...
Just take a quick moment and open up
open up that expansion box.
Yeah, here, if you want to grab this and set that aside, we'll open up this expansion box and take a look.
Expansion plans and ploys.
To see what we have coming for us.
And so is this, do you know, does the expansion add any new game mechanics, or is it more of the good stuff? Or?
I think phone line's ringing. Beans and Dice Podcast. This is Carlos. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Jamie Stegmeyer calling you back. I'm calling from St. Louis.
Hey, Jamie.
I am mind blown right now, Robert.
Yeah.
I'm tickled. Well, tickled more maroon than pink.
Yeah.
Jamie, what a pleasure, sir. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
Yeah, I was trying to call a few minutes ago, but I tried a few times and couldn't get through because you guys have had maybe a busy night of callers. So, yeah, I just wanted to pop in and say hi.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate all that you've. Robert and I have been playing a lot of your games for a long time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it's so cool to hear your voice and hear you call in. We're just cracking open the Plants Employees expansion, and we're going to be unboxing it live here on the call-in show and getting people's feedback on Tapestry and their thoughts. We want to thank you for sharing that game with us so that we had the opportunity to share it with the world.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you got big news going on that we've all been following. You got some work going on over there.
A new game?
I do, although I wasn't really calling in to promote anything. I thought it was cool that you guys were having a live show, and I was like, okay, I'll call in and say hi since you're talking about Tapestry.
Very cool.
So we are excited about your new game. I know you're not calling about it, but I'm going to take advantage of it.
Okay.
Because with you, I feel like you push the boundaries on trying things and not being afraid to try different things.
For sure.
Like, you don't stick to something just because it worked the first time. So it did. I'm excited to see more stuff come from your area. Tell me what else do you have coming up, or is there anything you share about the upcoming game with us that we should be aware of, or how can we find out more?
Yeah, well, and I really appreciate you saying that. I do try to do something a little different to kind of maybe get out of my comfort zone with every game I design. Early on, I was kind of into worker placement. Oh, I still love worker placement. I love playing worker placement.
Yeah.
But that was my default kind of go-to for every design for a while. And I was like, I should try something different. So, yeah, Red Rising is not a worker placement game. It's a hand management combo building game.
Right.
Where you are. Have you guys played Fantasy Realms?
I haven't played.
But it's similar to Star Realms, right?
That's Epic, I think. Epic's the card game.
Okay,
that's similar to Star Realms, yeah. Fantasy Realms is a little different. It's a very simple filler game where you are essentially just building a hand of cards, and at the end of the game, you score how those cards combo together. And over the course of the game, on your turn, you're getting rid of a card and then gaining a card into your hand to build that combo. And I love Fantasy Realms. I love that core concept. And we built off that for Red Rising, where in Red Rising, when you deploy a card, when you play a card, it does something. It does something special. It does something special. And then you gain a card, and that does something special based on where you gained it from. So it's kind of like a meatier Fantasy Realms with a few other levels and added onto it. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob's pulled it up on the camera for the folks
Fantasy
at home.
Realms, yeah.
I have not played Fantasy Realms. This is something new to me.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't ever played it, but I've seen it and I've heard of it, but I haven't ever sat down and had a chance to play it yet.
Now, I heard you say you get something for playing a card, but you also get something when you pick up a card. So, like, for playing it and picking it up. That feels kind of like Raiders of the North Sea-ish.
That worker placement,
placement idea where you're placing a worker and getting something for where you put them, but then you're also pulling a worker from somewhere else. That's like I was telling Rob in the last episode. To me, that's like worker placement, next level.
Yeah,
my brain melts.
Well, it feels good. I know it's a good feeling that in so many worker placement games in the past, I mean, when it comes to your turn, you do one thing. You place a guy, and then you wait for it to come back around the table. But it was such a satisfying feeling to be able to place somebody and then be able to do something again immediately. So, and then you've got that whole strategy there with blocking yourself out of certain places. And if somebody's taken where you want to go, then you maybe do something that you didn't want to do first. You have to do something different first, and then do what
is that a right way of thinking of it for Red Rising? We're placing something, getting something, and pulling something and getting something.
Yeah, and actually that's a perfect comparison to Raiders. Because in Raiders, a distinct element of that is that you don't ever have your own workers, really. They're yours temporarily when they're on the board. And that's very much the case in Red Rising. You have these cards, they're yours while they're in your hand, but once they're out of your hand, they could be anybody's. And I love that feeling that you guys have subscribed to, that kind of that double benefit that you get on your turn. You're getting something when you give up the workers, and then you're gaining something right away when you bring in the workers. That always feels good to me in games when you get that double benefit.
Right. It almost feels like you're cheating again, because the old historic way, or the way we've done it in the past, is again you just get to do one thing. You're like, oh, but there's if I could just go back to back, if I could just do two things, I could do this really cool combination, and then that gave you that ability to do that. So doing that in a card game is completely new. I haven't heard of that before. So, and I've got it on BGG here. I'm scrolling through some photos that are on BGG of Red Rising, and so the card art is really cool looking.
Yep, and I'll have to say, very, very unexpected to hear from you today. I know our topic today is Tapestry, so I will ask you, which is your favorite civilization when you play? Which was one that, I'll ask it in two ways. Which is the one that you succeeded the most with, and then which one did you enjoy playing the most?
Oh, maybe I should. Let me pull them up while we're chatting about it. I'll pull up my files.
That's a trick question.
Well, why do you guys answer while I'm refreshing myself on all the, because there are a ton of civil. There are 16. There are 26 now at this point.
I know. We just opened the new expansion box.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
right.
I don't know, Carlos. Do you have a favorite Civ game?
I really liked the Isolationist. I really enjoyed. When I play TI4, I love playing the turtles, the space turtles, the X-Check Kingdom. Yeah, because I got kind of just sit in my own little corner and shoot space missiles at you guys, space cannons, and that kind of gave me that same feeling. Like, leave me alone, let me play my game.
Which kind of surprises me about you, because you normally aren't the turtle kind in most games, but I know you do enjoy that faction in TI4. So that's...
I like starting conflicts, but I like staying out of them. I want to start them with you guys.
You want to get other people involved in it. Let them take each other out. Yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, I'm trying to think of... go ahead, Jamie.
Oh, no, I was going to ask you what yours is. It doesn't have to be your favorite, but one you played that you enjoyed.
Well, one more recently is, and I don't know if this is going to quite qualify, but just a quick, and I've just seen it here on Carlos's shelf, so I'm looking over here to the right.
Oh, he's looking at the game he's played.
But one I've been kind of enamored with lately, and we were kind of a little bit late to that, is Empires of the North. I was a big fan of original Imperial Settlers. I came to the game late on that one. I'm a fairly recent gamer. Carlos introduced me to the modern hobby board gaming. Gosh, I guess it's maybe 10 years ago now. And so, I'm fairly new. Carlos has been doing this a lot longer than I have. And so he introduced me to some games and kind of took me through some baby steps. And Imperial Settlers was one that I fell in love with, Ignacy Trevicek. And when Empires of the North came out, there were so many comparisons. And it's in the same world. It is a completely different game. But I was really defensive of the original Imperial Settlers, and I really didn't want to admit that there may be a better version or a different version that I might like more. So I was really resistant to playing it. But Empires of the North is really, really fun. And that's something Carlos I've been playing recently. We just have, Carlos owns the base game, and we've been going through the different factions, different civilizations just in the base game. And we've been playing that quite a bit lately. And I'm liking how quick that is. Again, it's another game where you have pretty quick turns. You do just a couple quick things on your turn. It goes back to the other player. We played a lot 2-player, maybe 3-player. And the games are, the whole game's over, in an hour. So not that I don't like the epic games. I've never been a huge fan of TI. Twilight Imperium, I know Carlos has played that a lot over the years, and he kind of got me introduced into that. For me, it's about
Rob is like talking with his nerves. He's like, Jamie's on here. See, Rob?
That TI4 is a game that I play maybe once a year or twice a year. But so I do like the epicness of that game, but that game is just when we play, that tends to be a 6, 7, 8 hour a game, and that's a bit much for me.
All right, so it sounds like Rob's modified my question, Jamie. So either pick a civilization of Tapestry that you really love, or talk about another Civ game that you love. Your choice.
Well, I'll answer briefly both ways, because I love that answer. I haven't played Empires of the North, but I need to based on that description.
Yeah, it's a good one.
One, I have a couple civs that came up while I was highlighting these. Like, I love the push your luck of the alchemist. I love the different paths created by the entertainers. But one that I always come back to that I think is interesting, even though I'm the designer, I'll say that. But the mystics. Okay. The mystics are the civilization where you kind of you're essentially predicting your own future in the game and then making that future happen. Like you're saying, by the end of the game, I think I will have 5 technology cards. And you predict that at the beginning of the game, and then you have to actually make that happen and have exactly that number at the end of the game. I just think I like the thematic element of that.
Isn't that kind of like hard? Is it hard to space?
It reminds me of trick taking. Yeah, you almost got to predict ahead of time. Yep.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that's a great comparison.
Yep.
Yeah. And then a Civ game that I love, another Civ game. It's a lighter Civ game, but I still love it. Is Seven Wonders Duel.
Oh man,
yeah. How do we forget that? Yeah.
Seven Wonders Duel. Yeah.
Yeah, we played a lot of that. Yeah, that was another fairly early game that Carlos introduced me to. He bought it, I think, pretty shortly after it came out, and we played it. We played it at pubs. We played it over dinner. We'll pull it out and we'll go to a restaurant and just sit there and play that on the side while we eat. So that's a good game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And being two-player makes it easy to get to the table. But I will have to. I'll judge you on your answer to this one. Did you upgrade your coins?
I do have upgraded coins for Seven Wonders. I don't always do that because metal coins, but I do.
My man.
I love metal coins.
You approved.
Yeah, we both do. We're both big on that upgrade. So
we really, really want to say how much we appreciate you calling.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Listen, we've been pranked on a few times in this in
our call-in show.
Yeah, with this show. It's a live call-in show. I mean, it's going to get weird.
Yeah.
And when I saw that message that you left, I'm like, is it really him though?
Yeah, I saw you scrambling over there. I was like, well, what? something coming up on
or
the
somebody
phone,
just joshing me here.
That's funny.
So and then when the moment you said hi, because I watch your daily cast that you do you're one of the most accessible designers ever. Your voice was instantly recognized.
Recognized right away.
And like, he wasn't messing with me.
That's great.
So we want to thank you for calling in. Thank you for all you do in the support of us and the community and the games that you've designed. We're fans. We're big fans.
Big fans. Yep.
Well, thank you, and I'm a fan as well. I love the content you create, and I'm happy to be a viewer and a supporter. So thanks for having me join for a few minutes.
I'm gonna be a little nervous now.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Take care. Have a good evening.
All right, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, folks. That's gonna open up our phone lines again.
How surreal was that, huh?
I'm a little giddy.
One of our favorite game designers calling in. Yeah. That's
Wayne Kruger's commenting. Wayne, friend of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, like every episode, Wayne's there. That he said it was pretty epic to get Jamie to call in.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. We'll have to recover for that for a few minutes, but
I'm gonna have to take a sip of beer.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Well, Wayne, the phone line's open.
Phone line's back open. If anybody wants to call in, anybody wants to react to Jamie Stegmeyer calling in from Stonemeyer Games.
Give your thoughts on Tapestry. What are your thoughts? Or just completely ignore our questions.
Yep.
And come up with your own.
Yeah, whatever's going on. But so we got plans and employees here. Just looking, so it doesn't change the player count. Still 1 to 5 players, 90 to 120 minutes. So the information on that's the same. Contents is it says 10 asymmetric civilization mats. So it looks like it introduces 10 new civilizations. I don't know if you've already mentioned that. 7 new unique buildings, landmark miniatures. So it adds some new buildings to the game. Landmarks cards that go with those buildings. Adds 15 new tapestry cards. 4 space tiles for that space race portion of the game, and then 12 landmark tokens, and then so it's an exploration bag.
Yeah, I see this. There's a bag here. So I wonder, instead of doing stacks of tokens, if it tells you just throw them in the bag, that would be nice.
Oh, okay, yeah. Instead of just having them face down on the board, spread around.
Right, you shuffle them around and stuff.
Yeah, okay, and that saves space on the tabletop, so that's nice too. Well, I guess we did stack them before. You put them in 3 or 4 different stacks, and
just pulled from a stack. But I always like drawing from bags.
Yeah,
that's a good feeling.
Yeah, like quacks.
Calico,
yeah, that's another one. We're drawing tiles from a bag. Yep.
We do have new buildings.
And the buildings are cool. I mean, there's no doubt that was one of the big talks of the original game when it came out, that those buildings were really beautiful. They were really well done with the.
I think, and I remember Jamie saying that is what inspired the design of the game to say, right. I want to build a game around this.
Right.
Yep. How do we use these cool buildings to design a game? And I think that's where he got the idea of because they're all different types.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now it's okay. Let's go through the ages. Let's civilize.
Right, and I know I still have an issue with those, although I know that people have come up with things you can print out or buy online.
Oh, the shape
that snap onto the bottom. But yeah, the shapes on the bottom of them, I really struggled when we first played, and even the last time we played, with trying to fit those on the grid on your player mat, and just trying to figure out exactly how many spaces is this supposed to take. How is it supposed to fit on this board? And I think it may have been. I know it was discussed in our first playthrough that the buildings can hang off of the edges, because I know there's sometimes sometimes you're like, I can't fit this building anywhere. But I think I forgot that the first time we played, and somebody had to remind us about halfway through, and then I remembered. I think the second time was the same thing. I'd forgot initially, and then somebody had to remind me, oh, you don't have to fit it directly on there. You can have it hang off on one edge, which is definitely a game changer, being able to do that. But the shapes of the bottoms of them don't exactly fit the grid on your player board that you're trying to put them on. But like I say, I know people have had 3D print designs and stuff where you can print something out and snap it on, or you can buy aftermarket parts that you snap on that make them exactly the dimensions of the grids. So
yeah, I know you're kind of a gamescaper that way.
Oh, yeah.
You like everything organized and straight. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
It does make it a little wonky to figure it out. So I guess it does slow you down a little bit in the placement aspect because it's not exact fits.
Yeah.
I think I like the look of the map on the side. I like that map.
Yeah.
Topographical
map. Yeah.
Yeah, English, not my first language.
Topography.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Geography on with Carlos and Rob.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's
the buildings on top of that kind of look cool to me because it's kind of it reminds me of like map building and Dungeons and Dragons world building kind of a feeling.
And that distracted me, and again, it's probably just me personally, and I'm sure it's other people as well. But that part of the game, especially after the first time we played, I was like, I really was enjoying what I was doing on the main game board. I liked racing on those tracks. I liked rolling the die. I liked the exploration thing on the main board of flipping over those tiles and exploring new areas, getting different resources randomly that way. But that little personal sideboard where you were trying to get these buildings and place them on, I found I was focusing too much on that, and it's like, whoa, how am I going to maximize what I'm doing down there? And it felt like it pulled me away a little bit from what was going on.
You really slowed down during those parts.
Yeah.
So, but your brain and my brain are different. I'm more like, I'm just going to plop this
you just throw it down.
And
if it works out, it works out. But yeah, see, I guess I'm more of a min-maxer. I'm trying to figure out.
Check out these new factions here while I try to figure out how to open up these cards
without destroying them.
Just give them pull out their names, show the photos.
Yeah, I can show.
So we got 10 new factions.
Yep, and let me get rid of this. What I got here on BGG. So it's there's the spies. Let's see. I can give. I don't know how much in depth the spies use subterfuge and deception.
No, just show the picture up here on to the camera, and
can they see it?
And give them here. I got you. And give them a name.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, read the name and show them the pictures. We got spies now.
That's the spies. We have advisors as one of the new civilizations, and endless wealth, unsolicited advice. I'm curious on what they do. Start with 3 tapestry cards, so that's interesting. They start with tapestry cards. Then they've got an ongoing ability that changes throughout the game. It's treasure hunters.
That sounds cool.
Is one of the new ones.
I think of like Indiana Jones.
Treasure hunters look to the riches wherever they go, and they seek to protect their valuables from the other civilizations. Start with 4 player tokens.
Oh, we got a call coming in. Let's take a peek at who this is.
Yep.
Beans and Ice Podcast. State your name and where you're calling from. Hello? Hello, caller. You're on the Beans and Ice Podcast. State your name.
What's up?
Hi, who's this?
My name is George. What's up?
Hi, George. Where are you calling from?
California.
Awesome. Any thoughts on the Tapestry topic, or do you got any topics for us?
What's the topic about today?
Well, today's topic, we're talking about Tapestry, the Civilization board game.
Yep, from Stonemeyer Games, Jamie Stegmeyer.
So, what do you think about that guy that did the Silk Road going to jail for life?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. The guy that did who?
I said, what do you think? What do you think about the guy that did Silk Road?
Silk Road?
Going to jail for life.
Oh, geez. I'm not familiar with that.
No, I'm not either.
Is Silk Road a board game?
Wow. Yeah, it's a board game called Life. And he's in jail for the rest of his life.
Oh, I'll look that up because that sounds that sounds a little weird. You know, it's like, oh, you made the Life board game and now you're in jail for life. Yeah, go spin a dial. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it sucks.
I bet he would agree. Hey, George, thanks for calling, man. We appreciate your call. Have a good night.
was George from California.
George from California.
I have a feeling that wasn't about a board game, but we'll roll right along.
Now we got on the comment board here, hail and well met from the UK. That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
When we'll see another game of Samurai Battles.
Get international.
We will soon. Let me get this call here. Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where you calling from? All right, that was interesting. So we're back. Deep Red had a question about Samurai Battles. All right, then we got a call from St. Pete. Let's take a peek. Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Wayne from Tampa.
Hey, Wayne. Did you say Wayne?
Yep, Wayne.
He actually said Wayne. He's real.
Yeah.
He does exist.
Oh, yeah? He's there?
I thought it was just a Russian bot. He's just trolling us the whole time.
How are you?
No, good, man. Good. No, I couldn't let that be the other call of the night.
Yeah, a couple back-to-back there. But yeah, it's going to happen. It's a call-in show, so we're ready for it.
It happens. It's all good. Yeah, that was good stuff, man. I mean, that was pretty cool, Jay, calling in.
Oh, yeah, very cool. Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Like, I can't even. Like,
we'll have to process that after.
Wayne's
after the
comment was when I told him to call back. He said, "You think I'm calling after Jamie called?
Oh,
Who's
yeah,
following that guy?"
Follow that up. So now after a couple of bombs called in, we're good. So
no, thank you for saving us on that. I expected that to happen. This format is. I don't know what I'm even thinking doing this format, but
yeah,
I'm sure there's gonna be some gems that we're gonna get out of this.
Oh,
and I think Wayne's gonna be one of them. So Wayne, we'll ask you, what are your thoughts on Tapestry? Have you ever played?
Have you played?
I haven't played that one yet. I've played a lot of his, a lot of Stegmaier stuff, a lot of Stonemaier game stuff. I love viticulture and Wingspan stuff. I haven't played Tapestry yet. I was going to play Tapestry at a conference right before COVID started, but then didn't do it, and then, I haven't really called in because I haven't played much in the last year. It's been online games and games with my 6-year-old,
Well, don't talk online games. We might get, who was that?
Yeah, was Steven a couple weeks ago?
Wayne, you were here for that one.
Yeah. No, I mean like Steam games, like board games online, like just whatever's on Steam.
I don't know if you remember that call from Steven when he got mad at us about playing online games.
Yeah, a couple.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, I do.
So, what are you playing online? You're doing Steam. What games are you playing?
Steam. Pandemic, Raiders of the North Sea, Wingspan. I've been playing a ton of Twilight Struggle. Excuse me,
Twilight Struggle.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a game that I think that I don't think I want to own the physical copy of it because the online implementation is. I think that would be a difficult game to play under a couple hours.
I haven't played the online version. Carlos introduced me probably 5 or 6 years, or actually maybe a little more than that, 7 or 8 years ago to the tabletop version. He's had it for quite a while, and you are completely right. There are a lot of chits. There's a lot of setup. There's a lot of things to manage in that game. But I would be actually more interested in trying. I wasn't blown away by the game. I know it was number one on BGG for how many years? I mean, it
felt like it was never going to get unseated at that number one spot.
For a long time, people didn't think so. But I would be interested in trying the online version because there'd be a lot less overhead, a lot less table management, obviously.
It's a lot less overhead. I like the integration. And what I really like is as you're going through the game, you get it plays like snippets of sound bites from the various leaders throughout the time period.
Very cool.
I think it's much more immersive, than probably the tabletop version.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I know Carlos always liked the historical part of it. He's a big history buff, and Cold War or regular war, World War I, World War II. He's a big buff on all that stuff.
You like your wars cold, you like them hot. How do you like your wars?
Exactly. So, but
I like mine regular, please.
Medium warm. But
Okay, Goldilocks.
But then I like the strategic part of it. Trying to figure out what's going on.
All right, Wayne, I got to jump in. Listen, don't listen to Rob. The tabletop version is not that hard to manage. Yes, there's a lot of chits and stuff, but I did the setup multiple times. It's not terrible. It's a great game to play. Having the cards themselves with the pictures and the captions is going to give you the feeling that you get from the little snippets that you listen to in the video game. But there's something about staring at the actual map of the world in front of you that you just can't replace with a digital map.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's the feeling of that control and push. But I will throw in, there's a couple of other games in that vein, that feeling, and that I have and I've tried, and I want to know if you've tried them yet. 13 Days. Right, so the Cold War in 13 Days, that's like a medium-sized version
it's
of Twilight Struggle. It is still Cold War.
That's my list.
13 hours, I think it was the really mini tiny box game.
Real short one we played, yeah.
Yeah, we played that one at the bar.
Yep.
Then there's, I found Campaign, the 2008 Campaign Manager, Barack Obama and John McCain really hit off on a lot of the same notes that I got from the flavor of Twilight Struggle. And then more recently for me, Shores of Tripoli.
Yeah.
Like it just hit as a much lighter version of Twilight Struggle.
Right.
A way much easier way to get people in on a topic, in a theme, which is, post-Revolutionary War, first American foreign war feelings. Have you played any of those? What are your thoughts on those?
I haven't played any of those. I watched the Dice Tower did a playthrough of the Shores of Tripoli, and it looked interesting. I'll say, though, the big knock on that game was definitely the production value, it looked like. And I don't know if that not that production value matters all that much, because, I've played a lot of dry Euros as well. So, but, those are ones I'm interested in getting. I've read about those, and it's like, I have a list of games a mile long that from the past year that I'm like, I want to try this game now. I want to try this game now. And, I think there's another, I kickstarted the Campaign Trail, and I think that kind of, it's not as similar, but it's, it's somewhat historic. I think the issue with me, maybe Twilight Struggle, is the 2-player aspect of it. It's kind of hard to get. If you go to a game night, who are you going to play with? It's got to be.
Oh my God, the struggle is real.
Oh yeah.
I love so many 2-player games, but when the third person shows up, I feel real guilty.
Yeah.
Putting that on the table.
Yep.
And we had,
and then it's it's a slightly heavier game, and like if I could see that game lasting 2-3 hours, and you have to get that one person that is willing to come over and play that 2, 3, 4 hours of gaming,
right?
In a game night,
That's exactly what I was going to say. When we had our game nights before all the stuff, we were getting up. Actually, we were pretty happy.
Upper 20s,
we were getting 20, 25, 30 people coming out once a month to our game nights. And, when you have that many people together, you almost feel obligated to try to include as many people in a game as you can. And so we were playing a lot of games that were 5, 6, 7, 8-player games. And Carlos, again, is more of the one-on-one wargaming head-to-head. And so he would try to bring these other games, and he would set them up off to the side, and he would try to wrangle people away from the other groups and be like, hey, come play, was it 878 Vikings with me? I'm going to teach you this game or whatever. But everybody would conglomerate to these,
the bigger group games that you don't get out often.
Exactly. So yeah.
Well, that's what I think too. Is like if you have a game night, we'd get 6 people. Oh, let's play one 6-player game. Come on, why don't we just do 2 3s?
Yeah.
Then we can
or
play
3 2s. Come on.
Let's
think outside the box.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's so many. Like once you get up to 6, 7, 8 people, then you start getting more party games and less and lighter games, and it's hard to other than like maybe seven wonders or something like that.
Yep.
But,
exactly.
Yeah, it gets tough. But I got some elderly folks and relatives in the area. So this past year, I haven't really called in because I haven't gamed much other than just on Steam and with my 6-year-old. So hopefully in the next couple months, things get back to normal, get some conventions going and stuff again. But
we're always looking to hear from people, not just what they're playing, but what are they excited about, what they're buying, right? Because a lot of, and maybe hobbying. Right, because I know I do a lot of the hobbying aspects of games. Rob doesn't do any of that.
No,
and lame.
Yeah, no.
But that's that's a topic too, right? Things that you're buying. So don't be afraid, folks. This is not just a conversation between me and Wayne. It's me and y'all.
Yeah.
Right. So don't think that you got to call in with tell me what you just played. Tell me what you just bought. Tell me what you just opened up and ran through and sleeved and got you excited.
Sleeved.
I can't wait for the first game night. First game night with my game group again when we get together. I can't wait to play Pan Am. The game has been on my shelf.
Oh, it's up there for me too, man.
He's got it up on his shelf. We've been looking at it.
I still haven't even I can't say unshrinked, unstickered.
Unstickered it, yeah.
Yeah. And then Rococo. I just got the deluxe edition of Rococo.
Oh, you got
a couple months back, and
the new version, the deluxe
laying it out.
Nice.
And,
what is this?
Rococo. It's a euro. You don't know anything about it. Just
what are these euros? They got dice, right?
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, that one looks really good. I've actually never played Rococo. I know it's a highly regarded, fairly heavyweight euro, but and so it's definitely on my list. But that new version looks sweet.
Wow, Rob, you got a friend now.
Yeah, I got a friend on the phone line.
I need some war gamers to call.
Yeah, we're not talking about war games or mini games or
I like it all. You
I'm that way too. I'm an omni gamer. I think I put a message out on the board today saying, "Hey, anybody got Hansa Teutonica? I want to give that a try."
Yeah, all right. You're coming to the dark side, the Euro side a little bit.
Yeah, I'll have cookies.
Yeah, we have cookies.
All right, Wayne, man, appreciate you calling in. I know you've been there listening, and it's your first time calling. Do not make it your last.
Yeah, don't be a stranger. Keep calling.
Definitely not.
Take care, man. Be safe.
Guys. Have a good one.
Good to talk to you. Night.
Have a good one.
All right, that was Wayne giving us a ring. Omni Gamer,
first time caller, long time texter.
Always on
messenger,
the chat board.
Yeah, on the chats.
Let me get back to Deep Red. Deep Red had the comment on Samurai Battles, right? So we did play the Samurai Battles, William and I. That was the miniatures version. I'll tell you, we just got charged by GMT for our P500. So Samurai Battles is being reprinted, re-implemented. I always had problems with the way they wrote the rules. I like the minis in the game, but I'd rather have wood blocks. GMT is taking it instead of Zvezda game, the Russian game company that was running it for Richard Borg. It's now going to be under the GMT license. So when they charge you, it means that it's shipping from the facility.
Okay.
So I'm going to put up on the board so y'all can see it. So from what I understand now, it's going to be shipping soon. So I should be receiving the new version.
Cool.
Now I'm going to sticker those blocks as soon as they come in, and I'm going to get that one to the table. So we should have the new version of Samurai Battles up real soon.
Okay, so this is, you say blocks, so this, I'm looking here, just a lot of stuff.
See, that's the version I have.
Okay.
That's an old, that was like a grail game for me.
Okay.
Finding this copy.
Gotcha.
No, because it's Command and Colors, kind of like Memoir 44.
Right.
Battle Lore, right, in that vein.
Borg, yeah.
But it's Samurai. And it was all models. It was through Zvezda. I can't pronounce Russian names. I'm sorry.
Okay. Huh.
But now GMT, who usually does a lot of what Richard Borg's games are, you know, Command and Colors Ancients,
Red
Command and
Rising,
Colors Medieval, and so now they're coming out with a new version. All right, we got California calling. Let's take a peek at this. Beans and Ice podcast. State your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, can I talk about this game Clue? I love that game.
Going old school.
You know what, though? I don't disagree.
I like Clue.
Tell me what you like about Clue.
It's good.
I agree. I'm going to leave it at that. I mean, if that's... I don't... Okay, it's got roll and write in it. Oh, I'm sorry, roll and move.
Roll and move, yeah.
It's got roll and move.
Yep.
But I think it's a good deduction game.
It's deduction, yeah. I mean, it's just all deduction almost, yeah.
And yeah, I tend to get beat in it because I struggle a little bit with putting two and two together, finding all the clues. But I still think Clue is a strong game.
They made movies about it. And I hear they're coming out with a new movie, actually. They're getting ready to redo
When was the last time you played it?
Actually, it was probably 6 years ago.
Last year for me.
It's what my wife likes to play. It's the one, but my wife doesn't like playing games with me.
Yep.
That's why I have Rob for.
I played it last year with my teenage kids, my 17-year-old, my 15-year-old.
But I have better games than Clue that I haven't played in 8 years.
Yeah, you've got quite a shelf of games, so that's believable.
What else you got going on? Any new purchases?
Did you ever play Twister with your kid?
No, I just don't. I
have.
If you're watching on screen, I'm a little bit big for that.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of hurting somebody.
But I have
myself more than anything.
Yep. You don't like it?
I struggle. I've had too many hip surgeries, and I just don't have the physical attributes of it.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you calling in and sharing some games. Be sure to call again. Let us know what else you got going on.
Excellent.
Thanks, California.
Thank you.
All right. It's different. It's you know what I find, Rob, that I think I'm really shocked at is how often when I talk to somebody that I meet at work or outside of these circles, that's really the level of game that they get. I think one of the things that I did people watching at your turn, which really surprised me when we play games at your turn, is watching a group or a family come into the gaming cafe. And Dan's got over 20 times what I got back there.
Over 2,000 games.
Games all over the place. Yep. And you watch them walk that line of games, right? And you see them spend 30, 40 minutes of just browsing and perusing these games. And what do they end up doing? They grab Uno. Yeah. Right? They kind of go back to what they know. Let's take a look at this one. Beans and Ice podcast. State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, are you two guys buddies? Do you fuck each other?
All right. That was interesting. Moving on.
Yep. But yeah, Dan, and I heard that actually, but when Dan told me he was setting up the game shop, I talked to him a little bit, and I knew that Snakes and Lattes from up in Canada. You got another one? Nope.
No, same one.
Just blogging that one. Okay. So Snakes and Lattes had a video series about opening a board game shop, and they talked quite a bit about if you are a modern hobby board gamer and you're thinking about opening a board game cafe or a board game shop, that you have to have those classic games, Monopoly, Uno, Life, those lighter games for people to play, because they said that they've been doing this for quite a while. I don't know how many years. Snakes and Lattes, they've got 4, 5, 6 locations now across Canada, and I think some either opening or open now in the United States. And they say that those are the most popular games, that just people coming in off the street. And Dan has an awesome collection of higher end games, of more modern games, $200, $300 games with these minis and all these new game mechanics. But again, like you say, if we go in there and we sit there during the day, we'll see people just walk in and grab Jenga,
right,
and Tiddlywinks. Just the games, the classic games that they know. And I mean, it's a great thing. And anybody who's playing board games, I mean, we're definitely not here to put down anybody.
No, we are not going to be the gatekeepers of what's fun. And,
right.
And at the end of the day, I know that phone call ended up not going as I intended it, and I think it was more of a joke. But I have to take that call with a little bit of seriousness, because for some folks that could be the extent of their board game knowledge.
Sure.
Like, what are our thoughts on these games? And
we're here to talk.
So
to board
I will
gamers.
talk. If you're willing to talk, I'm willing to talk about it. But I think after the second call, it kind of explained. Yeah, no, it's a little more than just It's just more than talking games.
The same number keeps calling back, so we know. Yeah.
He's blocked now. We'll let him call from a different number if he wants to have a real conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's take a look at this next call here. Beans and Ice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Mike, and I'm from Virginia.
Hey,
from
Mike.
Virginia.
That's
isn't that Rob?
My stomping grounds. I'm from Northern Virginia, from the Woodbridge, Fairfax area. What part of Virginia did you say?
Sterling, near Dulles Airport, so not too far away.
Awesome. Yeah, I was there for about 22, 23 years. My father was stationed with the military, in the Army, with the Pentagon. So that was his last deployment before he retired. So we retired there, and I stayed there for a long time. Met my wife there, and we moved down to Florida here about 15 years ago. But how are things going?
Things are going well. You had mentioned Euro games before, so I thought I'd call to talk about some Euro games.
There you go. Yeah,
Rob does have a friend in Virginia.
Man after my heart. So we have very different tastes here. If you haven't seen the show too much, between Carlos and I, although we're a good mesh. He brought me into gaming, but he is definitely he's a historic gamer. He likes war games and hobby games, mini games, painting minis and going out and playing.
And Rob likes cubes.
I like cube pushing. So
what cubes do you got for us?
The couple games we've been playing recently, we had gotten the Anachrony Infinity Box. We kickstarted that.
I'm dying to play that. I have never played Anachrony, and we have 2 guys in our game group, Muhammad and David. David Carlton, who are both big players of Anachrony, and they have been saying, Muhammad specifically, he's been telling me for about a year and a half that he's going to teach me that game, and so we've been talking actually intensely for the last couple of weeks about when we're going to make that happen. So I'm dying to play Anachrony. But what else?
So let's see. Let me make sure.
Did you get a chance to play Anachrony?
Oh yeah. So I played a few games of it against my wife. We're stuck at home like everyone else.
Oh yeah,
and
you guys got some bad weather this week too.
Yeah, we had some snow. It was actually really warm on Wednesday. It was like in the 50s, so everything melted.
Oh wow, yeah,
so,
good.
Yeah, but Anachrony is good. The core game is very solid, and the box, which is almost as big as a Gloomhaven box, just comes with a million different expansions, and we couldn't play them all. There were just too many different expansions to try.
And how did you find sorting it out? That's the thing I keep hearing, is that people are saying it's taking them hours to sort that all the expansions and get them in the right places in the box and get that whole box put together. Did you suffer that experience, or?
It was not that bad. They have a book, that literal book that comes in the box that tells you where to put everything.
Oh, gosh, that's amazing.
That helps.
The same company that did that did Tricarium, which they did a big box for a few years ago.
Yep.
And that had no instructions whatsoever.
Oh, boy.
It took us 2 hours to sort. So we learned a lot from that.
I could see that. Absolutely. Yeah. Another game, Tricarium, I've never played. So I call myself a Euro, but I know those are two huge Euros that I have to get to the table.
Expensive ones, right? It's not like we can all, get that.
Right. Exactly. But what else have you been playing?
We've been playing Praga Caput Regni.
That is a new one, and that's also on my list. I have not. I need to send out something to see whether anybody in our game group has that one, because we definitely do. Although Carlos won't acknowledge them, we do have Euro gamers in our game group. But that's one I need to send out because I keep hearing about that one.
Yeah, we've been playing it online on Tabletop Simulator.
Oh, cool. Okay. And Carlos, both of us have Tabletop Simulator. That's been our choice for online gaming, even though neither one of us had done a whole lot of online gaming. But I didn't know it was on there, so maybe I'll have to check it out on there. Yeah,
they have a very good implementation there.
Good. Excellent.
And it's fun. It's action selection. It's by the same guy who did Underwater Cities and Last Will. So
Last Will.
He's got a bunch of good.
Cool. Yeah,
He's got a bunch of good games under his belt.
A good one. Yeah, excellent. And another one I keep hearing of is, and I don't know if you've had any experience with it, it's a fairly new one. Takanu, Obelisk of the Sun, is one that I've got high on my list that I want to play. It came out, I think, fairly late in the year last year, but it made a lot of Eurogamers' top 10 list. And so that's one that I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about. Have you heard of that one? Have you played that one at all? Or?
I've seen it in my friendly local game store, and I hadn't heard a lot about it online, so I will check it out.
Yeah, that one's been highly regarded. A lot of people have said it's just rocketed to their top of the list, and actually I saw multiple online personalities from Dice Tower and from different groups who had said that was their number one Euro from last year. So, definitely one to check out.
Cool. I will.
I like games with cubes too.
You go back to sleep. This is my time. This is my chance. So.
No, it really is. Rob and I play a lot of different games, but there's Euro games. I don't knock them. I mean, I joke about it.
You just fall asleep while you play them, but which he has literally done 2 or 3 times. He's literally fallen asleep at the table. But
I blame the sleep apnea.
Yeah. Viticulture at 1 a.m. probably wasn't a great idea.
Well, we were drinking too, so I mean, it's like you throw that in.
Yeah, okay, didn't help.
You have to drink the viticulture.
I mean,
I wish I played more war games so I could talk about those, but I don't.
No. Carlos has had his time. He's good. Yeah.
No, I'm enjoying this. Rob is in his element right now. I am really happy you called.
I'm lit up. I chirped in. So yeah.
Well, be sure to call again.
Yeah.
This is really weird. For Rob and I both, it's a very different open format. So we want to thank you for having the courage to call in and provide some real content.
Yeah.
I know there's some weird calls coming in between, and I got to figure out how to manage that better.
Yeah, we might have to hire a professional screener or something. I don't know, but anyway, you're gonna get that. So if you've been listening,
hey, how's your Thursday nights? Are you busy? I mean, we're looking for a screener.
Real cheap, but
thanks again for calling. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Be safe.
Don't be stranger. Thanks. Have a good night.
That was so cool. Yeah. It's cool, man. It's like getting outside. I think today's callers, for the first time, are really just all outside of our local game group.
Yeah.
Like, usually we get like one call outside of our game group.
Yeah.
Today has really gotten us well outside of our game group.
I don't think we've had anybody from the game group call in tonight.
No.
So, which is cool.
Wow, time's flown.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're a little over an hour now, so we gotta.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think
we try again next week.
It's been an interesting night. So yeah, I'm encouraged by this. Although we've had some ups and downs tonight with the calls, but it's fantastic the people we had call in. Obviously, Jamie Stegmeyer calling in at the beginning of the show.
That was a delight.
Which was shocking. But,
that was a shock.
Yeah,
I
shocking.
just didn't.
I
didn't tell him anything. I didn't.
Yeah.
He
just
called
in. He heard we were talking about Tapestry, and he wanted to chime in and see what we thought about it. So that's awesome. But and then all the other callers, of course, everybody, we appreciate you calling in, and we appreciate you listening. if you're on Facebook watching, definitely if you could give us the thumbs up if you like what we're doing, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell so you get notifications. We'll be here every Thursday night. 9:00 is our plan. If we have to cancel for some reason, we'll try to put the word out that things going to happen, life's going to happen. But Carlos is holding down the thing here. We're at his place, so he's able to do this almost all the time, even if I have to miss occasionally. But
yep, and we have guests on, so just Thursday nights, join us, call in, talk to us about what you're playing. We're going to try to provide a topic of some sort. Yep. And usually it's going to be a game we just played. We're going to talk about it and then get your thoughts on it. Sure. Hi to Joe Garcia in the comments.
Hey, Joe.
Joe says hi. One of our game group guys. Yeah. But thank you to all of you callers that had the courage to call outside of our game group. That really means a lot to me. That blows my mind. Yeah. That we had these phone calls today.
We've got a slowly growing audience, and that's what we're looking for. We just want to talk to people about games, and this is awesome.
And that's really all I want to get out of it is just learn about. I mean, you talked about some games today that I'd never heard of.
Yeah, well, we got into Euroland. So.
I don't even know if I can repronounce them. I couldn't write them down to say.
You said Hans and Teutonica correctly, so that's.
You know how much practice it took for that one?
You tried. I saw you practicing before. We got blah, 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 blah.
Yep, I got to get that right. So on that note, that's going to do it for tonight's show. We will be back next week, Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Phone number is going to stay the same. Rob and I will be here. We will see you on the next one. Everybody, be safe. Play more games. Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice Podcast, a podcast about
how we game.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
Have a good night.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everybody.